Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got something really special to me. Had something similar to this 24 years ago when I was a senior in high school. The one I had back then was a 78 Formula, same color though, Martinique blue. I love the blue. It was a 350, they had Chevy 350s in them that year, and it was a 4-speed Saginaw manual transmission. But the video today is about this, and you just found out part of the reason why this particular year in color is so special to me. I feel really blessed and lucky to have this car. Looked for a long time for this specific set of combinations. This is a 78 Trans Am. This is the WS6, and it's also the W72, which came with a higher output 400, made it to a T10. Well, in this case, it's a T10. Some came in automatics, the earlier ones. 4-speed manual. So yeah, these were rated at 220 horse in 1978, but NHRA actually dynoed these at about 260 to 280. And I can tell you, it feels more like 300 to me. Has the original wheels. It's had one repaint. They did a pretty nice job. It's not a perfect car by any means, but I'm freaking so happy to have this. And so thankful, I'll say it again. Long story, the one I had back in high school ended up getting wrecked. I had to drive it in the wintertime back then, my only source of transportation. And some fool ended up pulling out in front of me on my way to high school one morning. Slipped on some black ice, just hitting the brakes normally, the thing just started spinning, and I put it into a pole. So yeah, this car is very special to me. Show you a little bit of the interior here. Now, my dad worked at GM for 30 years and probably had his hands on these exact trim pieces, which is pretty neat. Pretty darn neat. As well as these pieces he would have handled. And I believe these as well. I love that classic Fisher emblem. So yeah, I get a little taste of the interior here. Kind of a lighter blue interior. In really nice shape. All the gauges but the clockwork in it, I'm happy with that. So yeah, this actually has legendary seat covers. Really nice quality. I gotta give them a shout out. See if I can pop the hood for you here. Bear with me. Gonna have to sit that down. There you go. The W72 400. Only real modifications I've done is a distributor kit and advance the timing up a couple of degrees from factory setting. It runs great. Got the functional shaker hood, which I love. You can't tell from here, but let me see if I can grab this. So I've actually hollowed that out for now and did a K&N filter and a K&N lid with that, and it really works nice. Very happy with that modification. So yeah, let's shut this down. Go for a quick ride. Okay, so bear with me here. As always, no fancy equipment. Just me in the car. The cell phone. shoddy mount connected to the window. Radio still works good. Picks up station's pretty nice. For those of you that don't know, the antenna is actually in the windshield. Comes up in two sections, then right up here above the rear view, splits into two. I always thought that was really cool. Right up here had the radial tune suspension. Nice little option on these. They do handle pretty good. This being a WS6, and 78 was the first year for the WS6. So it definitely handles pretty good, better than you would think for something like this. Starts right up. Really a joy. The seats are comfortable. I mean, it's a sporty, classic, iconic looking car. Of course, made huge by Smokey and the Bandit. Got the Hearst T shifter down here, the polished one. Still got the original knob in the garage. But yeah, it's nice. It runs and drives great. It's got about 51,600 miles on it. The motor has never been rebuilt and doesn't use a bit of oil. Doesn't have a rear main seal leak, which is unusual, which tells me maybe this thing wasn't abused, which is always great news. Got the original lighter over here. All your climate controls right here, easy to reach. Ashtray below the radio, never been used. So some of you remember, I drove a friend of mine's Trans Am a while back, had the mildly built 403. I've been wanting one of these to call my own for a long time, and it feels great to be back in one. Especially a W72 with the WS6 package in the color I love. It was a 1 year old, the 1 year only Martinique blue in 78. I really like it. Let's go for a ride. And the cam has a little bit of a lope to it, and even for a stock 78 cam, it's pretty cool. Went to my first car show in it yesterday, and I got a couple compliments on the sound of it. It does sound pretty decent. Easy to drive, the clutch is soft. Really cool place to be. Just a real pleasure to drive, really is. I'd have to say, out of all my car videos, yes, this isn't the fastest, yes, it doesn't handle the best, etc. But as far as my favorite car to review, it's this one, just hands down, my own personal taste. Of course, the sky is the limit as far as modifications for one of these. But I love it in its original form. I really do. It's really unique. I really like it. I forgot to mention, it does not have the stock exhaust. It actually has a real dual exhaust system with just some, Dynamax turbo type mufflers. I thought about maybe doing some Flowmasters on it eventually, but it's pretty decently, I wouldn't say it's loud, but definitely has a good sound to it already. And it's like, why kill a good thing? These tires like to squeal real easy. Quite nicely. The only downside to having that is that the seats, the factory seats in this, do not hold you in very well, so you're kind of all over the place. But rides nice. It's not beating me up any. I mean, it rides a little rougher than my 78 Formula did, but it is a slightly stiffer suspension, being that this is a WS6 Trans Am. Honestly, to all of you, I can't believe I'm in this car doing a review video. It's a pleasure to share this one with you. Thanks all of you for watching. I get to meet a lot of cool people. More than anything, I love the car stories. Hopefully I'll get some neat stories about this one from some of you. That would really make me smile. But yeah, I can't say it enough. I'm really thankful, and it's still kind of a disbelief that this is happening right now. It's easy to shift. I mean, of course, it's not going to handle these like a Datsun 240Z or anything like that, but it does pretty well. I'm not pushing. I don't want to abuse this car like whatsoever. And when you hit it, it opens up. Right back down to speed again. Very nice. For original front disc rear drum brakes, it's got pretty good brakes too. 79 if you had the WS6, it had four-wheel disc brakes. Like, I missed that one by a year, but that can always be converted. But I'm pretty happy with the brakes. I'm not really going any kind of crazy speed in this car, so more than anything, I want to take good care of it. First gear pull. It's still fast enough to be fun. It's a lot of fun. It makes me smile every time. It's the modifications I've done. I'm guessing it's maybe a bit over 300 horsepower. The factory gearing in this year was a 342 limited slip. It's plenty. It's plenty to make me smile. I love it. It's not one of these new 1,000 horsepower monsters, but that's okay. It's still a great place to be. Great car to drive. People love it too. They love to see it. I get a lot of, hey, I haven't seen one of those in a long time, you know, hey, what year is that? I've never seen that color. That's awesome. That's awesome. Even handles those railroad tracks pretty smoothly. Lots of good back roads around here where I live now. Some of the videos you probably saw before, I was in that rat-packed, crowded city. It's nice out here. You can really have a much better time in a car like this without all that traffic. And it handles good enough to be exciting. I mean, if you wanted to push it a little bit, you could, and it would probably do pretty well. From what I've seen so far, much better than I thought. It's not a super light car, although this one being lightly optioned, probably around 3,500 pounds, give or take some change. when you consider a fully loaded one weighed around 3,700 plus pounds, you can definitely feel a 200-pound difference. Before I advanced the timing and did the distributor kit, I didn't hear any kind of cackling coming out of the exhaust when I let off of it. You can now. I like that. Pretty neat. And the fact that my dad helped build this is just awesome. Literally, he helped build this car. And a lot of good people before all those GM plants here in Ohio were shut down and sent overseas. It was a cool group of people to be around, the people that worked at GM back in these days. So that's also makes it very special to me. My dad loves this one. He says I better not sell it. To be brutally honest, it's worth more than I paid for it now. These things are skyrocketing. Got lucky there. But I just don't know if I can let this one go. I've been probably back and forth 3 or 4 times now at least. I just can't do it. I can't do it. Do a little third gear pull here real quick. And here we go. It runs good. To me, it feels as modified with the things I have done to it. It feels about like a 1340s, 1350s quarter mile type car, which I know isn't outrageous, but for me, it's plenty. It's enough, like I said, enough to make me smile. And being somewhat rare, I don't want to do any kind of crazy modifications to it. I love the engine turn dash. Love that. Pretty cool. My Formula had like the wood grain, which I also like a lot. I love the shaker hood. You know, any kind of little rev when you're stopped, you can see it moving and flexing around with the engine. I love that. And the fact that Pontiac no longer exists and hasn't for quite a long time now, that's a shame. It would be really neat to see like a new Trans Am. I mean, I know they make like the aftermarket ones, but like an official, you know, made by General Motors Trans Am. And other Pontiac cars, who knows what else they would have made. So yeah, thanks everybody for coming along on a ride with me in this special day. Thanks all of you for the subscriptions again. Really cool. Really cool. And for those of you that first subscribed to my channel, like, you know, the first 50 or the first 5, thank you. Don't ever think I forget that. I'll probably end up getting better with the channel eventually, but for right now, I just like to enjoy it for what it is. Driving these cars, meeting and talking to all of you, maybe letting some of you in on things you didn't know about a certain car that you were thinking about getting. You know, the W72, WS6 like this, it's up there if you look it up. Some say, well, to me, it's not worth that. I still say if you can get it, within reason. We live on this earth once. Yeah, to me, it's still worth it. thing, if I had one complaint, is the 4-speed transmission. Now, it does only have 342 gears, but at 65 mile an hour, you're at almost 3,000 RPM, and that's as much as I feel comfortable revving the engine at for a long period of time. And as fast as people go on the freeway nowadays, you feel like you're going to get run over and killed. So if I end up keeping it, I'm probably more than likely going to do a 5-speed, a TKO, something like that, just for that one extra gear. Then I can comfortably do 70 if I need, 75 if I need to, depending on where I am, and not feel like somebody's just going to come up and hit me. That's a big worry. But this local city driving stuff, local or in the country, it loves it. 60 mile an hour or below, it's right at home. But yeah, that's probably my only gripe about it. And I can live with that if I have to. Easy to steer, the car is predictable, dives into a turn pretty well, and the rear end stays pretty planted for a solid rear axle car. It's, they weren't independent rear suspension. Love it when people give looks and the thumbs up. Always give them a thumbs up back. Thanks everybody so much for watching, especially this video. Very, very special day, very special car to me. I'm probably going to be doing my dad's 83 Firebird SE pretty soon as well. It's an LS1 T56 swap, about 90% Pro Touring underneath with the suspension. I really think you guys will enjoy it. And until next time.